Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Luke and I do perfume reviews. If you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing if you like my content. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Please go ahead, give this video a like, post a comment. I read all of your comments and I always respond. This is a review of Poison by Christian Dior, or Poison de Christian Dior, one of my most favourite fragrances of all time. Ironically, I've been without it for around a year because I finished my previous bottle around a year ago and I didn't repurchase it. But Poison came back into my life, this time in its vintage form. I purchased this vintage bottle for a very good price on eBay, and it's from the late 90s and it should have a clear cap, but unfortunately the cap was lost. I really love the vintage style elongated bottles like this one, and I think they're much prettier than the ones they sell today. I wanted to say a bit about the history of Poison. So Poison is a perfume that was so revolutionary that it literally changed the course of perfume history when it was released. It entered the collective memory and never left it. My Poison story started with my mother, who, despite not being a perfume fanatic, she owned and loved this fragrance sometime in the late 80s or the early 90s, I'm not entirely sure. I don't have any scent memory of her wearing it, but I did find it uncannily familiar when I first tried it myself around 10 to 12 years ago, I believe. It has become one of my favourite perfumes of all time, and I've always come back to it, even when I go a long time without using it. This is one of those that you either love or you hate. You're either in the Poison clan or you're not. And I very much am. Poison is both a typical and an unusual 1980s perfume. It's a bewitching concoction of plum, tuberose, warmed by honey, spices, opoponax and myrrh. It's dark, mysterious, gothic, seductive, but sweet and bewitching. It's very sexy, it's seductive, it's sensual. It's classified as an amber floral. However, it's also fruity, spicy and white floral. If you find one of those older tester bottles, it will say épicé, fruité, ambré on the bottle, which translates to spicy, fruity, ambery. And this is exactly how I describe Poison. I get a lot of sweet plum, fruity berries, sweet opoponax, smoky incense, animalic honey, lavish vintage tuberose, and lots of oriental spices. It's a magical concoction. It smells like the 80s, and despite all the oriental notes, it remains sweet and likable. The honey, tuberose and the plum sweeten everything up and make it smell intoxicating and addictive. The dry down is also beautiful. The woody and smoky facets come out, but the fragrance remains sweet. However, if you're not a fan of incense or opoponax or other smoky notes, I would stay away from this perfume because it does have a very pronounced smokiness in the dry down, just like Lulu from Cacharel, which is another spicy, incensey, tuberose fragrance from the late 80s. It does remind me of Poison, however, Poison is my all-time favourite. I will always recommend it over Lulu. The performance is strong for an eau de toilette. It has good projection. The new version lasts around 6 hours on my skin, whereas this one, the old one, lasts a bit longer. It opens with an explosive opening and stays like that for an hour. Then it settles down and becomes a skin scent around the 3 to 4 hour mark, but it does last around 9 hours on my skin. Whereas the new version is just a tad weaker, but it's still a strong fragrance. The modern formula is, I would say, a bit more wearable. But as you know, those of us in the Poison clan, we don't really care whether it's wearable or not, or whether we offend someone or not. I mean, I don't care. I wear it for myself and not for the people around me. Many people claim that Poison has been butchered, basically. However, I don't really agree. I think the new version is still great. It's not great, but it's satisfactory. It's better than nothing. If you can't find the vintage version, the new one, I would repurchase it. But I'm really happy that I own this vintage version, even though it's a small bottle. But it's better than nothing, isn't it? Poison is a perfume that transcends time. It has entered into legend. It will always be iconic and groundbreaking. The 1980s were one of the best eras for perfumery. Dior wanted to create something new, something shocking, and mass appealing at the same time. And unlike their rather old-fashioned and conservative fragrances, classics such as Diorissimo, Diorella, and Miss Dior from the 1940s, they wanted to release something different. And just to let you know, as I don't like to plagiarize, I did look up this information on Wikipedia. The marketing strategy was based on the one of YSL Opium, and out of 800 scents that were created by independent perfumers, Dior selected one created by Edouard Flechier, and this was the Poison we know today. They also carefully selected the bottle, which is designed to look like the forbidden fruit. Poison was extremely successful. From 1994 on, they released a number of flankers. Poison came in like a thunderstorm. There was nothing like it, and there's never going to be anything like it ever again. Everyone wore Poison in the late 1980s. It was the it fragrance. Even my mother, who has never been a perfume lover, she had a bottle at one point. What does that tell you? She said that she just had to have it. It was so popular. Just imagine how many streets, living rooms, bathrooms, and other public spaces smelled like Poison. Allegedly, it was so strong that it was banned from restaurants because it overwhelmed the smell of food. Poison is a perfume that bewitches and repulses. It's a dark gothic floral with smoky incense and just enough plum and forest fruits to make it sweet, addictive, and irresistible. It reminds me of Lulu from Cacharel, as well as Isatis from Givenchy, but Isatis is quite a different scent. So that will be all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments whether you like Poison or not. Do you own it? Do you hate it? Do any of the people in your life own it, love it, hate it, wore it, wear it? I would like to know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Poison. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye. I also wanted to let you know that my channel reached 100 subscribers. It happened last night, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you who watches me and who subscribes to me.